Yeah, I think Yadi, of all the guys we talked about, Yadi was the one that really made it go over there. He was not a vocal leader by any means, but when he did speak, you listen to him. But a lot of times before the game, you could find Yadi in the corner of the video room, just doing his work. He, pen and paper, writing out scouting reports for the pitchers of the opposing hitters, and you go into the pitchers and catcher meeting, and he's got all the information down. And as a young pitcher, to have Yadi back there with this wealth of knowledge, the scouting report for the day, I mean, it makes your job as a young pitcher that much easier, because if you're unsure of something, you just defer to Yadi, because that guy's been there, battle tested, just a warrior back there, a guy that only wanted to win, never wanted to come out of the lineup. They try to give him days off, and he'd march in the manager's office and be like, "No, I'm playing, and nothing you can do about it." So one of the hardest jobs to be was Yadi's backup, because you never played. Gerald Laird was our backup in 11. He got a start like one summer day in Kansas City, broke his finger, came on the bus after the game, and it's like, "Boys, bad news, broken finger, out 6 to 8 weeks, only missing 2 starts." And everyone started dying laughing. But it's true, he played every day, and you just don't see that anymore. But Yadi had brought this like intensity behind the plate. He could intimidate some umpires behind him and into getting his pitchers some calls, which you love as a catcher. But he demanded respect, and he demanded that from his pitchers too, because he knew he did his homework, and he knew his experience that he was had a good idea of what to call. So a couple times we had some pitchers shake him off, and he went out there and tried to talk him into what he wanted to throw, and still didn't want to do it. So gets back there behind the plate, and I think for like 15 straight pitches, he just told the pitcher, "Just throw whatever you want." And it was a fastball split guy, really good split finger. And for the rest of the inning, Yadi's catching everything like he knows what's coming, but the pitcher's just throwing whatever he wants. And a couple of us in the infield realized what was going on, and we're like, "Hey, you guys, you just tell him to throw whatever." So and just for him to have that confidence and be like, "Hey, you know what? Fine. If you don't want to listen to me, X amount of gold gloves that I have and all the preparation I've done, you throw whatever you want. It's on you. I'll catch it still." I even saw him do it to a starter, like 4-pitch mix starter, veteran starter, and he, didn't miss a beat. So that's just like the legend of Yadi.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, that's not easy to do.
I mean, I get crossed up one time, and I'm like getting hammered in the toe, and I'm pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him play through. He ripped his oblique off the bone. He didn't want to come out of the game. Stayed in the game, tried to hit. Broken thumb, banged up knee. Just an absolute gamer.
You think he'll be a manager at some point?
Well, he went straight from playing his last game in St. Louis, retired, and went to go manage in the Venezuelan Winter League. Mm-hmm. And I think he might be managing Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic.
Okay.
So definitely I see him staying involved in that. I don't know if he wants to manage a big league team. I'm sure he does, and I'm sure he'd be great at it. But if that's what he wants to do, I'm sure someone will give him an opportunity.
He's such a great example for catchers, because it's the idea of so many times we think of leadership as the moment that you have to be a leader, in the sense of like a guy getting on a guy or a guy putting his arm around somebody, when the reality is like being a leader is every single day. It's being somebody that you want everyone else to be. And every time I ask people about him, that's literally all it is. It's not like he was like, "Hey, you need to get over here. This is what we're doing." It was just like, he's doing it, and you're like, I better keep up if that's what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, if the guy can squat down there 162 games in the St. Louis humidity and show up every day, like you can play with like a little banged up ankle or whatever. And I think another great thing is you never really saw him take his offense behind the plate with him. If he had a bad at bat, you would never know. His main focus was to get that pitcher through the inning. That's what he wanted to do. He was there to make the pitcher's job easier, get outs, and his offense was secondary. And he turned himself into a really good offensive player. I think it was 2011 he got off to a slow start, and we were maybe in LA early in the season, and him and Albert went to the cage for early work, and Albert helped him out. And I think from that point on, he took off for his career offensively, and he had some really good offensive years after that. But he was more concerned about getting his pitcher through the inning, throwing out base runners, controlling the running game than he was about his offense.